Hello and welcome, everybody. This is our latest episode of our Relentless Renewal podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Marianne Janik, who is CEO of Microsoft Germany. Marianne is at the forefront of AI innovation in Germany, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Marianne, so great to have you here. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Dominik.
So to cut right to the chase, I mean, everybody's talking about AI. It's a huge topic. I would love to hear your thoughts on what's happening with AI and innovation in Germany.
I think in Germany, around the world, we feel that we have been, since the pandemic, in a sort of multi-crisis mode. And specifically in Germany, of course, 2023 is going to be a year where we expect recession. But still, there are so many diverse challenges around the world, and I think diverse challenges need also diverse solutions. And one of them we've been talking and also acting upon in Germany since, January 2023 has been AI. McKinsey is telling us that we can expect 0.6 increase in productivity for Germany, so good news. When we listen to Bitkom and their latest AI survey, we see that 90% of the business decision makers in Germany having AI on their radar. 50% are telling us that they believe AI is going to change a lot in Germany. The most important figure is that we see an adoption rate of 15%, which, we should certainly have a look at.
The numbers are very interesting, and particularly the 15% strike me. I mean, clearly there's a big discrepancy between the excitement that we all perceive and then, what's actually happening. Why do you think this is the case, and how do we overcome this?
I think that's a very crucial question, and talking to customers and partners about that, the answer is, oh God, the pace of technology is so big that we can't keep up. I think two things are important. One is that in general, AI and Germany can really be using AI to increase productivity, because we hear a lot of talk, especially in the automotive industry, about productivity, gain of efficiency. So if we concentrate on the use cases and also see the business cases on these efficiency issues, I think AI can be very beneficial for Germany. The second part is we've been talking about workforce shortage in Germany a lot, especially the famous Fachkräftemangel. And I see a lot of industries here and a lot also CEOs reflecting how can we use AI to really tackle this very specific issue in Germany.
I think we've seen a couple of really interesting examples in that case, right? In my space, we have Mercedes, for instance, who have been very fast in innovating, right? And what they've done, they enabled 900,000 cars in the US in a beta program, making ChatGPT available in the cars. And that already happened in June this year. I thought it was really amazing. And then the other story, not in Germany, but neighboring in Austria, relating to what you said about Fachkräftemangel, that I find very interesting is STRABAG, a construction company. Very important for them is managing risk. And the risk of large projects is usually there's a lot of human oversight. But when you have the long tail of smaller projects, they're very, very hard to manage for a construction company. So they are using ChatGPT to highlight the projects where there might be a potential risk. And then a human can look at it and validate whether there's an issue or not. And to me, that's a great example, right, of how you overcome this labor shortage and how AI and humans can work together. And then I think what's also important, again, in Germany, it's not just us doing all of this on our own. We really work very closely with our partners like Siemens. And I was very excited about the announcement you guys made, right, between Satya Nadella and Roland Busch, the Siemens CEO, about bringing the co-pilot capability into industrial space. So I'm very excited to see all that. But I mean, clearly you have a lot more great examples to share from other industries as well.
We've seen, of course, in Germany, as the DNA of Germany is automotive and mobility in general and manufacturing as well. We've seen already at the Hanover Fair in April, we've seen the first really great examples with MVPs and POCs where AI was already sort of embedded in those showcases. What I see as well is, first for those industry, that there is for the first time in Germany a momentum for the adoption of the technology that comes from employees. And of course, in those companies where you have employees who understand technology better than in other industries, we see the diffusion, the adoption rate is faster. But we really see that talents are interested to use those tools and moving forward. So you were asking which other industries. So one industry where I'm super excited to see things happening in Germany after all these years of discussions is healthcare. Because Germany has a very good healthcare system, but we all know, and I can remember 10 years ago when we looked at, the patient records and things like that, where we already saw, how important data information can be to support, the accompanying of patients. But there is other things as well. So the healthcare industry is also about the whole equipment you need, both in hospitals, but also at a practitioner. And the way, these equipments can really release data that can then be used on a platform, if you like. Karl Lauterbach was talking about that a few weeks ago, that he wants to have a platform for Germany, a healthcare platform. So we see again, like in other industry, that you need the whole ecosystem to work together and create all that data that you need to make it really happen. But I'm really positive to see the things, and I'm positive as well because I see the interest of doctors, but also of the companies working in the healthcare sector to do something about it. And you've seen, as Satya was in Berlin, he was talking about being at the dentist in the US and having all these medicinal equipment from Germany. So again, an industry that we should not underestimate, that is very strong in Germany, and again also stands for our famous Mittelstand, where we have 90% of all our companies are actually part of this Mittelstand, and where AI can really, really make a difference.
This is fascinating, Marianne. So what do you think the future holds? Like, how does 2026 look like? What do you think?
Wow, a big question. So I think with this big AI topic, I would really start small. So I see three paths to the future, if you like. One path is using the co-pilots that are on the markets that Microsoft brings to the market at the moment. And one being certainly sort of the AI-assisted software development, also known as GitHub Copilot. I think that's a very good entry point where you can immediately see and experience the benefit, and also see that your software developers really like and appreciate it and will never give it away. So I think that's one. The second part is, and that's why the announcement with Siemens is a lighthouse, is customers in Germany learning how to infuse AI into their own products and services. And the third part, also happening, but certainly at a different pace, is customers and partners developing their own large language models, also using smaller version of ChatGPT, for example. So I see these three paths helping us in Germany to really increase adoption. So 2026, I really see everyone in Germany using it. This is a technology that's going to be fully democratized, and I think we are going to see new ecosystems building on this technology, and we are going to see companies really going back to, less is Germany the sick man in Europe, but more to the chance, how can we innovate as, an ecosystem in Germany, also across industries.
I love that super positive outlook.
How do you see the future?
I mean, I think you started by saying it's a big question, right? I mean, it's really, it's kind of hard to foresee what's happening the next 3 months, right? Like, let alone the next 3 years. To me, like, it is astonishing the speed and the depth and the breadth at which this is happening, what you're also talking about. And like, I certainly have never seen this before with any technology. And My guess is the most fundamental thing is the way it's going to change the way we work. And what I'm personally very excited about is also like how it changes the way we do research and development, which is an area that matters a lot in Germany. We're seeing a lot of customer interest in that space, how generative AI can help them be more productive and be faster. You talked about the example of software development. And I guess the question people are asking is like, if we can get 50% in software development, why can't we get 50% across all of our research, right, and development? And so we work with chemicals companies, for instance, that use quantum computing in combination with generative AI to discover molecules faster and simulate them. Or we talk to car companies, can this change the way we develop cars? Most of all, cut development times, go to market fast. And to me, I'm wondering, like, does generative AI has the potential to be for research and development what the Internet of Things has been for like what we do in shop floor manufacturing? So either way, it's going to be very exciting. I loved hearing your insights today, Marianne, and thanks so much for spending the time with us.
Thank you, Dominik. Pleasure.